Well, good morning and happy Sunday, everyone. Hope you're having a good weekend so far. I hope you're up and around. It's already 9 o'clock here, 10 o'clock out east, but it's 7 o'clock on the left coast, and it's mid-afternoon over in Australia, so come on over. In England right now, it's 3 p.m. this morning, or 3 p.m. this afternoon. 3 p.m. this morning here, over there in England where it's the afternoon. Boom. I got that out. Hey, Susie Q. Good to see you. Good morning. And Steve Clark, good to see you this morning, as well as Uncle Dave Potter and Elderberry. And I saw a field guy really early on. So that might have been in the middle of the night. That was 5:36 a.m. He said good morning. So 3.5 hours ago. Let's see. I'm not sure if he's going to be here or not. So welcome to everybody. Glad to have you here this morning. My face is not awake yet, but I've been laying awake off and on for the last 3 hours. I finally got up about 40 minutes ago, made some coffee, and got the day going, straightened up the kitchen a little bit. Boom, 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 boom. That's Sunday morning over here. I have a guest that's here today. He may or may not step in to the show. It's if all of you remember Patch from Rocky Stucci's show and mine. And also Patch, who shows up every now and then, Patch Malone. And he his job takes him all around the country. He drives a van, not a big truck, not a big 18-wheeler, but a big van, and does deliveries and all that stuff. And he was coming in from Montana yesterday and talked to me in the morning and said, I'll probably be in your area by dinner time. And sure enough, he showed up. So we had some coffee, a couple of beers, and sat here and talked until about 10:30-ish, 11. And my brain took over and said, go to bed. And so he wanted to go sleep in his van. He said that's where he sleeps. So he's out on our driveway, asleep in the van. I did have a little chat with him on text messages this morning. And he said, I'm awake out here. And I said, just come on in whenever you're ready. There's hot coffee upstairs. So he may come in and join the peanut gallery over there in the big overstuffed fluffy chair and ottoman. So we might see Patch in here this morning. And let's see. I think he might be coming in right now. I'm not sure. I told Raini, I said, just don't go upstairs in your skimpy string tank top. I said, not that I care, but you might care. So she'll probably get dressed before she heads up there. Let's see. Why is this always coming on Sunday mornings about my screen time this week? So anyway, there we go. Good morning. Good to see y'all. What's going on in your neck of the woods? You know, this show, you can catch it to Monday, Wednesday, Friday, the Intrepid radio program, which is the slightly more formal version of this show that broadcasts out on subspace.radio. And we are not on the radio station this morning, although we could be, except Sunday morning tends to be a little more scattered and a little less formal with what we're talking about. This is more talking to you about your stuff. Everybody just talking. And so like we have lined up right now, talking. If you want to call into the show and talk this morning, let me put the link over in the chat room. And by the way, if you're catching this over on Facebook, you're not going to see the main chat. You're going to see the Facebook chat, which doesn't always show anything that's going over in the YouTube chat. So come on over to YouTube. That's youtube.com/Scotty Roberts. And you can see the live show being simulcast over there, as well as join the chat room. And you can join us over here got to come up on camera. Doesn't mean you have to be made up or got your teeth in or anything like that or your hair done. But you don't have to have a picture if you don't want it. But you can come on in and talk and share your ideas and what's on your mind and all of that. That's what Sunday morning is all about. So otherwise, if you guys don't have topics, I got topics. I got topics coming out the ass. Hey, good morning, Patch.
Good morning.
Hey, you want to be on camera? There he is.
I don't care. I gotta wipe the ugly off.
He's over on the other side.
Hey, good morning, guys.
There's Patch Adams.
What's up?
Patch has stopped by, and this is a camera mount, by the way, folks. That looks kind of weird sitting there. So who all we got this morning? We got Steve Clark, we got Matthew Sainsbury, we got Susie Q, and Carlene Griggs Smith. Good morning, Carlene.
I remember Susie Q.
And who else we got? We got Uncle Dave Potter, and let's see, Elderberry is here. Kelly Bell Moran is here, and everybody else. They're starting to file in.
Are they?
So yeah, if so Patch is over here. He's going to sit in the peanut gallery over there in the overstuffed chair and listen to what we got going on this morning, which isn't a lot.
Yes, I'm going to eavesdrop.
All right, you eavesdrop.
I'm going to critique quietly.
Yeah, yes. And so what we do on Sunday mornings, folks, if you're not familiar with it, it's just talking. And it's just sometimes we do politics, sometimes we do the paranormal. So, wow, I'm sounding like Kenny Ballos now. You can come in and you can talk about anything you want. You can talk about the paranormal. You can talk about politics. You can talk about even that 3-letter word sex. And even if you don't know what it is or get it like I do, he says you can fake it. So, but Kenny is not with us yet this morning. Maybe he'll show up this morning. I hope he's feeling better for his own morning coffee with KB every morning of the week, Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Central. You can listen to or join in with Kenny KB Ballos. How's it going, Carlene? I see you saying hey over there, almost seeing it. You know, your eyes begin to recognize the shapes of words. You can read them with your glasses. So my bent up glasses. These are my computer glasses. It's what I use when I'm working, doing digital work and stuff like that on my computer, which I've been heavily engaged in this week and writing. And I'm writing for my friend Andy Dabbs. We're actually, you know, I'm going to tell you about his book here. Let me go get it. Maybe I can't go get it. I thought it was over there on the shelf, but I don't see it. So I must have pulled it out, and it's sitting around here somewhere. Couldn't tell you where. But Andy Dabbs' book, 20 Years From Now, that I wrote with him, that is available over at AntonDabbs.com. If you've struggled with anxiety or stress or some of those issues, that's what Andy's book is about. It started off as his memoirs, and he asked me to help write it. And then we went into talking about all the stuff that he struggled with in life. So, and we're starting a second book on anxiety that I've already started writing with him. He's already started, and it's going to be a little deeper, a little less memoirs and a little more about the topic itself, digging in kind of deep. So if you want to go see more about his current book, just go on over to AntonDabbs.com. Here, I'll even type it into the chat room. And you can go over there and you can avail yourself of Anton's book. It's actually my book too, but it's his story. So you can go over and take a look at it right there at that link. And I don't know if that's an actual working link in the window or if you got to copy that. The way it works over here in StreamYard, where I'm broadcasting from, you can't click on it. So go on over and pick that up. I'm not sure what I did with that now. That's kind of weird that I don't see where I put that. It usually goes back on the shelf over there. Oh, there it is. Hang on. I got it. So there's Raini's chair. She's not here yet. So hopefully she'll shamble in this morning. But here's Andy's book. This is the hardback. This is the premium full color hardback. All the pictures and photos inside are all color. And it's hardback. That'll sit nicely on your shelf. There's Andy and me on the back with Gus the bus. And so that is available now. And you can go over to Anton Dabbs CHATROOM.com and get it. And let's see. That's all I got that's fresh on my mind. What's going on over there? Hey, Paul Roney. There he is. That's Patch.
Yep.
If you didn't know that. Says, good morning. I know it's been so long, but I've been busy traveling. Sidetracked. We're mostly going out through a lot. There you go. So Patch is here this morning live over in the Peanut Gallery. And you could be too if you want to come and stay at my house. So we make coffee in the morning.
Be prepared. It's cold.
It's cold, he said. He slept in his big van last night. And I said, you sure you don't want to stay in the house? He goes, nah, I'll sleep in there. I sleep everywhere in there. So how was it last night? Did you stay warm?
I do under the covers, but
Under the covers.
It's cold out there this morning. I think it's
Yeah.
19.
You got to start the engine up and get the heat going. Hey, Ed Weeb, good to see you. Sitting facing front, he says. Grumpy Stack is here. I am the star, he says. Sound like Pharaoh. I am the morning and the evening star. I am a brother to the gods. There it is, Patch or Grumpy. You're a brother to the gods. And let's see who else we got in here this morning. Good morning, Matthew Sainsbury. Good to see you. And Uncle Dave, coffee and pants are next on my schedule this morning. Not necessarily in that order. So, or maybe that order. Coffee first. I usually go up and get my coffee brew, and then I go put my pants on. So, So Paul Patch is texting the chat room from right over there in the chair.
Long distance.
Long distance, yes. So what's on everybody's minds this morning? Is it politics? Is it the paranormal? Is it stuff going on in your life? Hey, Roger Rabbit. I would love a big van to sleep and travel in. It would open up life's adventures. Ain't that the truth? I think having a big van, Andy, he talks about it in his book. They had an old VW van. They still do. It's this one here that I did kind of a little digital caricature of. That's Gus the Bus. And they traveled around in that van for a long time. And refurbished, all redone. They've redone it a couple of times. So, yeah, I've thought about that. Rainey and I have talked on several occasions, sometimes seriously, sometimes not so seriously, about, hey, screw this whole house owning thing and property and land. Let's just get a big RV, a massive motor coach, and or get an old bus and convert it over, and just take the kids and go on the road. And now you think a big house like this one, bigger house, it could be calamitous with 3 kids. Imagine doing that all on the road in a big RV motor coach. But we talked about it, and we thought that might be kind of neat. Just go travel around the country and see things. Take them out of school for a year, do school, homeschool them in the bus, the RV, and go see things. I think that would be kind of a neat way to live. Maybe we'd get addicted to it, and that's all we'd ever do. But hey, Carly Sagan, good morning, everyone. Good morning, she says. So good to see you, Carly. And Sapphire Owl, nice to see you. Life, work, and neighbors' health. There it is. Steve Clark always says, he's saying howdy to everyone. And so wouldn't that be a neat way to live if you could put up with, being on the road and not having that stable spot where you have land and you can plant your garden and move around. Rainey and I are also talking about, as you all know, we want to get a few acres out in the country here and put up a shipping container home. And it doesn't have to look like a shipping container. If you don't know what that stuff is all about, go look up shipping container homes. And you'll see you can do them as simple as it looks like a boxcar, but really nice on the inside. Or you can do them as elaborate as you can't even tell it's built looks like a house. There's some people that have built them for $40,000 and have their whole family living in them. And there's some that have built them for $750,000 and up. It all depends on what you want to pay for your boxcars. And they get all done on the inside. And it's awfully nice. I thought, we might need about 8 to 12 of those 30-foot boxcars, because I was thinking it'd be kind of neat to build a home like in the style of an old Roman villa, where if you're looking at the floor plan, you've got a square like this of the boxcars with an atrium in the middle that could be either open air to the outside, and then you have a second, a double decker. You stack them, and you have a little balcony and stuff and all that's interior, and work your way up. And I've seen some really neat things done like that. You put a nice deck up on the top, and they're a lot of fun. And but I've also seen them where you do them like we were thinking, the atrium. Now put it on its side. You build a roof over it, a glass roof or a roof of some kind that's got skylights in it. And you've got the rooms all in the outside of the boxcars, and you've got the big open family cooking living area down in the middle. And I think that would be awfully cool. That's what Roger and I talk about all the time, said Carly Sagan. Yeah, that'd be the way to go, I think. Dave misses being on the open road some days. Yeah, it's kind of nice to vagabond at pirate, as Dave would say. Dave says, I'm no vagabond, I'm a pirate. Yeah. So they can be really turned into really comfortable things, says Paul. That's right.
Yeah, they can. I've seen some good styles.
Yes. Let's break the glass roof and vote Hillary president, says Grumpy Stack. What's with you this morning, Grumpy? Always the contrarian.
You could get her double in.
Yeah, get her double.
She's dead.
She and Biden's double. There you go.
Yeah.
That's Patch has some interesting theories on all of that stuff.
Down a few holes, Scott.
Down a few rabbit holes, he says. So let's see. If Molly dies, I might just pack up my dogs and travel, said Steve Clark. Well, remember, 20 years from now, you'll regret more the things you didn't do than the things you did do. So cast off the bow lines, sail away from the safe harbor, set your sails to the trade winds, explore, dream, discover. I had an editor for Andy's book, because I have that quote in the beginning of the book, and she said it's not been proven that is an actual quote of Mark Twain's, which I've been saying for years. And she said he said many things like it, but there is no attribution directly to any of his writings where he said that. He said things very similar, but not that. So that's been dog-eared over the years, I think, and edited and so on, and it's become a good standalone quote inspired by Mark Twain and the things that he said, very, very much like that. Ed says if we're going to go throw national security to the wind, she would sure be the queen of that. Hillary Clinton, I think he's talking about. So Molly is my horse, says Steve. Not so many places to put a horse for a night or two, unless you haul a trailer. Haul that horse trailer. Let's see. I don't know who will be the first female president of America, says Matthew Sainsbury. Well, I don't either. I like Tulsi Gabbard, even though I don't agree with everything. I'd take her as a president. I think that there are other women that are fit for the job more than Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris might end up being the president of the United States if they remove Biden over all this junk.
No,
How's that grab you?
They're both gonna take a
Yeah.
ride.
Yeah, they'd both take a ride, says Patch.
I think so.
Yeah, politics is a murky thing because it isn't just the politics you see, it's the politics you don't see.
And that's
Going on.
exactly what you need to pay attention to.
That's what you got to pay attention to, says Patch. And so there's a lot of information out there. It's just digging it up and going down the rabbit hole and figuring it out. So, what else have we got going on here? I did a neat illustration yesterday. It was partially AI and partially drawing on the computer and working things on the computer. You remember this book, of course. I've talked about it a couple of times this week. The Rollicking Adventures of Tam O'Hare. That's a book I illustrated, and it's been out for several years now. It's a timeless tale. It takes place in the 1500s. Well, I wanted to take that character and update him a little bit. Tam O'Hare right there, the main character. So I might be able to show this to you and see how that turned out.
That looked really good.
That's a thank you, Patch. And so I wanted to update him just for the fun of it. And so I took a little time yesterday on a Saturday, and I updated him a bit. Not updated in the weird sense, updated in, when I painted this, I wanted to do Tam as a, he's an Irish lord in the 1500s. And so the clothing he's wearing there, that's the initial painting. I got the reflection, so it's hard to see. That's the initial painting I did of Tam. And that's a little later than the 1500s. That doublet he's wearing, those slashed sleeves like that, that's just slightly later. And so I did in the book, and that's the painting I did for my daughters. So I wanted to keep that for the cover. In the book, I changed him up just a little bit, and I put him in this kind of garment right here. Let's find him. There he is. There's now that's a little more Elizabethan, Tudor England, which is the period he lives in. So he's got the tighter sleeves down at the bottom, the slashing toward the top, and the peplums down here below. And so that's the way I did him later. So I wanted to kind of update him. And I started thinking the more I learn about history, the more I learn about the kind of character he would have been. He was an Irish lord, swashbuckler. He was kind of a Sir Walter Raleigh type of character. I wanted to see him look a little more shipside, a little more piratey, because he becomes kind of this pirate. And here he is. I'm going to bring him into the room. And I'm just showing you this for fun because it's my topic and I want to show you. And so Tam O'Hare. And one of these days I'll get to Tam O'Hare 2. Tam O'Hare in the Banshee of Ballyglenmorrow. Here, I'm going to take off the banner for a second so you can see this a little better. Here he is. Boom. There he is. Now that is Tam O'Hare right here. That is you can see them a bit side by side in the miniature here. So I did the same pose, and it's a little AI. It's a little illustration. It's a little digital illustration. It's piecing this all together on the computer and building that character, kind of the way he looks. I might illustrate him a little differently when I do the second book, maybe make him look a little less like this, which was more realistic as a rabbit, and make him maybe a little more cartoony or something like that. Nice green coat. Yes. That's his leather and velvet sleeves, and then the leather sleeves underneath. And so that's you guys are gonna love it. Said who? I saw that in here. Oh, Paul Roney. Thank you, Paul.
Yeah, that's good. It's great work.
Yeah, thank you.
It looks sharp.
Hey, Cordia. Good to see you. We really want to buy this book too, to read to Kenzie. You can go get it. It's on Amazon, this one. And lest anybody think, it's priced at $24.95 because it's a full color book and they're expensive even for Amazon. They charge you a lot more for doing color. And just so you know, I make roughly 30 cents a book on Amazon with those. So it's I didn't want to make that price out of the stratosphere for people to buy. And So it's out there. It's available. If you buy it on Amazon, it's 30 cents goes to me, and the rest goes to Amazon. And I think if you order it directly from me, I do a little better. But there it is. Thank you, Carly. I appreciate that very much. Thank you for that compliment. So it's a good book, I think, and I think you'll really enjoy it. So I've read some parts from this for you before, and I actually read the whole book online once. But there's a favorite part of this book. Let's see. Yeah. Let's see. There is a little confrontation. It's about this far into the book. And Queen Elizabeth is on the ship by almost a ruse to get her there. And there's a scene after a bunch of the falling action, a battle between Tam O'Hare and his Scottish raccoon pirates and the English warship. And I've got in here a section where, before the climactic final scenes of the book, they all gather at the house of Harwick's Thomas More, and where the harbor is there. And Queen Elizabeth and all her ladies in waiting and her royal guard and her whole entourage is there at the house. And there's a little dancing that ensues and so on. While this might seem uncharacteristic at first blush, I haven't told you the whole story. I'm going to read you this little section for a Sunday morning. You'll like this. This is one of my favorite parts of the whole book. And so this is after Queen Elizabeth and Tam have their meeting, and he almost tricked her into being on board his ship, and she probably would have taken his head pretty quickly, except of the fallout from that. And so they're all relaxing and putting on a dance and a ball at the house of Thomas Harwick after this event. And so it goes like this. And silly rabbit, there are no scenes in a book. There you go, Grumpy Stack. The house of Harwick's Thomas More was filled with revelry that eve. Queen Elizabeth had never danced with a raccoon before, to be sure, as she considered them surly, shiftless, and below her station. Intensifying her feeling of distaste was the salty, unsavory ragtag nature of these raccoon pirates, who most probably, she was sure, had never ever learned the finer turns of the pavane, the galliard, or even the quick-paced, swinging, circular steps of the French branle. And even more egregious was the offense they caused to her artistic sensibilities. A raccoon simply cannot overcome his heavy-footed and oafish ways on the dance floor, she had earlier pontificated to her ladies of court. Yet by the wee hours she had slowly but surely shed her prejudices and shared the parquetted floor with most of Tam's crew, who each humbly requested with hat in hand and head bowed low at least one turn of heel with England's monarch, a thing not normally experienced by many raccoons. Elizabeth, youthful, vigorous, and slightly in her cups, obliged the masked miscreants, and found that she had never had a more exhaustingly enjoyable time moving to the flute, the lyre, the tambourine, and drum. About this time, the sun was beginning to peek over the horizon. The fiery young queen dropped into a giddy heap in a large chair and fell fast asleep. Her equally raccooned-out ladies in waiting found their ways to various chairs, sofas, pillows, all around her. And the queen's royal guard stood tireless watch throughout the night. Now McCrick is one of the raccoon pirates, just to give you a little context here. He's kind of the first mate to Tam. McCrick, early on in the festivities, had gazed across the crowded room and locked eyes with an enchantress, Thomas More's kitchen wench. The moment his black eyes met hers, he dropped the handful of potato pie he'd been stuffing into his gaping maw and veritably floated through the feasting, dancing, and celebratory mob. Like a ship being guided by a light on the shore, he made his way to the doorway of the kitchens, never averting his gaze from hers. When he finally stood before her, he took her calloused, dirty hands in his own, seeing past the greased-caked fur on her face, blind to the sizable mole that protruded from her equally sizable snout. His gaze pierced through all the defenses that would normally send most sailors back to the sea, coursing its way through the calloused exterior of this stout, rotund, hard-boiled working raccoon of lesser means, and all the way to her heart, which instantly captured his. Together they spent the remainder of the night dancing in the scullery, oblivious to the world around them. Tam O'Hare, after a courteous, courtly dance with the Queen, quietly recused himself from the merriment and found his way to the balcony on the roof, where Elizabeth had stood and looked out to sea that very morning. He pulled his pipe from the pouch on his belt, lit it, and puffed deeply as he watched the stars slowly travel their courses across the night sky. His thoughts were firmly fixed on the unfinished business ahead, and he longed to be on his way fulfilling them. But for the moment, he listened to the festive din coming from the great hall of the house below and smiled. The sun would rise soon enough. That's one of my favorite little sections of the book. And so that's what it sounds like. And there's a lot of other things that go on in this book, of course. There's a lot of action and adventure, and there's sword fighting. And Uncle Dave helped me a little bit with preparing for these scenes as I wrote them in the book, the fight scenes. We choreographed some sword fights. Uncle Dave did this with me, and a friend of ours, Bill Locken, who's been on this show, who is also a certified sword master. And we walked through all the scenes so I could write about them. If you wanted to parry to the left and come about and do a Molinet or something like that, or a punto reverso or whatever you might have, I wanted to work through all of that. We choreographed it so I could write it, so I could see what it looked like, feel it, and then I knew what was happening in the scene. "Have at you," says Dave Potter. "Have at you, silly wabbit," says Grumpy Stack. So there you go. Have at you. And by the way, it was Uncle Dave and another friend of mine, Wayne Grimmer, who we had on this show not long ago, along with Bill Locken. I was asked to read portions of this book at the children's stage at the Renaissance Festival here in Minnesota. And I had kind of retired, quote unquote, out of the Renaissance Festival after the 2005 season. And then this book came out, and in the 2007 season, they had me come back and read on the children's stage at the festival. And so I wanted to stage one of the sword fights there. And as I read the book, and we had the book out there, they said, you can have a table with your books and sign autographs and so on. Let me go grab these. I know I've showed you these before, but Uncle Dave, who is a magnificent artisan himself in many different ways, he said, when you're on stage, you ought to have masks for us while we're doing the sword fight. And so he made these out of leather, and he brought them over, and then I painted them. So here's Tam O'Hare. So he made this leather mask. You can see even his markings still on the inside. He just soaked the leather and molded it and sewed it together where he had to. No, this is all one piece. And so the mask would go on here, and the actor would see, it looks kind of creepy this way, but when he had this and he had his hat on, and there's Tam O'Hare and the big ears, and you could see out this area he left open. So you could see the mouth and the chin move and so on. So he made that mask of Tam. And then the English sea captain was a ferret. And so named Martin Frobisher. And he had this sword fight with Tam. And so Martin Frobisher this is the mask Dave wore. So there's the ferret, Martin Frobisher, and I read the scenes while they did the sword fight up on stage, and we made it a little comic for the kids. But then I took these after Dave made them out of leather, and I painted them to paint the features on them. So that was a pretty neat thing. So that's just a reminder of some of Uncle Dave's other talents, and amongst many others, stagecraft and costuming and painting and all of that stuff. So let's see, indicative of the Bunny Man, maybe. Ed Weeb, the Bunny Man. It's an alien run, says Elderberry. And so, yeah, and it worked on stage. I wish I had the pictures of how they looked up there on stage. I'd show you. And I wonder if I do, because it's worth looking at. This was back in 2007 when we did these. And let's see. I wonder if I've got them. Tam masks. I need my glasses to see that. Let's see if we've got them in here. No, not there, not there, not there. Not there, not there. I might not have them. I don't know where I'd store them. I don't know what they were named. Let's see. Uncle Dave. How would I put that? I see them from time to time online. Maybe I do have them online and I can show you. Just to show you how this all worked, how it looked, how Uncle Dave's masks looked when they were on stage. Pretty neat stuff. So let's go see if I can find the pictures of Uncle Dave in this mask. Let's see, it's going to be in my albums, but I don't know where. So I'm going to scroll through here and see if I can find them. I know this is scintillating live radio, folks, but in lieu of you calling in and talking about other things, this is what I got. These are the jokes, folks. These are the jokes. So let me see. I got to go back far enough because this was, 16 years ago when this took place. Flynn wasn't even born yet. Raini and I didn't have kids. We were just dating at that time. She was my girlfriend.
You sound so French, eh?
Yes, yes. Let's see. Fest and Friends. Might it be in that folder? If it's not in here, it's not. That's the way it goes. I'll see. Oh, there is Wayne Grimmer. I don't see... Here's Wayne with the Tam O'Hare mask on. I've got that one. I don't know why I don't have one right next to him with Dave while they're actually doing the fight. This isn't an old folder. This was a long time ago that I put these in here. So let's see if I can save this the right way. Image size. And I always put up small pictures back then. I don't know what the hell was with that. So let's see. Files. Save as. Grimmer. Tam, we'll call it. And I would just import these right in, but it makes you do PDFs of these to bring into the show. You can only call up a PDF. Okay, here we go. I've saved it, and let's bring it in, and I'll show you. This is Wayne Grimmer. He played a fellow pirate with Uncle Dave out at the festival, and he was an expert swordsman as well. And so I had he and Dave do the fight on stage. Dave, if you have any pictures of that, send them over to me. Pictures. We'll put in here Grimmer. And there it is. Okay, it's loading up right now. Should be a quick load. Here's Wayne Grimmer in the Tam O'Hare mask that Uncle Dave made. And boom, there he is. So that was one of the days up on stage where they were doing stage combat. acting out this scene, and he couldn't get his hat over the top. Well, is he wearing his hat? No, he's not. That's an ear coming down on the right. So there he is playing Tam O'Hare up on the stage in Dave's Mask, as I read. He was the first mate. Sandy Bottoms was his name, his stage name out there. Mordecai, good to see you. He's just saying hello to everybody, virtually speaking. So good to see you in the chat room today. And Romeldian, good to see you as well. And Sapphire Owl, good to see you as well. Welcome to the program this morning. So there's Wayne Grimmer as Tam O'Hare. We'll just remove him. And Dave, if you've got some other pictures, I'd love to see them. I know I've got pictures of you somewhere. They're stored somewhere. Seeing Uncle Dave playing, he played the ferret, Sea Captain Martin Frobisher in the stage show. And of course, it wasn't a full-blown affair up on stage. We didn't have sets or anything like that. It was just masks and swords as I read the book. It was one of those types of things. So, nope, he's not in there. And, yeah, there you go. All right, moving on. This is what Sunday mornings are like, folks. This is the show. This is the stuff, man. So that might have been from him. I'm not sure. We'll find out. That is not. That is from my son, Sam, sending me videos. Sam, if you're out there and you're listening, come on into the show. Might be kind of fun. Let's see. Let me, I'm going to, if he's, oops, no, I don't want to do that. I got to wear my glasses. I keep hitting the wrong buttons. So invite. Here's a link. I'm going to invite my son. Let's see. Sam. On live. Join me. Boom. There. That's for Sam the Man. Or as you all got to calling him when we were out in Louisiana, Sam the Leprechaun. It's my son with the big red beard. So when you see it, don't be shocked at how red it is. It's not colored. It's just red. Now, when I first grew my beard out, like 45 years ago, it was red too. So that's interesting, huh? So let's see. What else we got? Scotty, do you and Raini role play with these? We haven't role played with the masks yet, Carly Sagan. They come off too quick. So no, but there have been other things. We don't do the full-blown theatrical affair when we're role-playing. The role-playing is usually verbal and auditory and touchy-feely. So that's the way we role-play. Never been too big into role-playing, frankly, when it comes to that three-letter word, sex. And although it's fun, we have fun. We get pretty comedic at times, and we have a lot of fun with it. Sometimes it's downright serious and slappy-dappy. Other times it's comedic, getting there. And some Renaissance role-playing, says Carly. I may have called her milady once, or hey, wench, Does your tankard need filling? So, or something like that, That's about as far as it goes. We don't get into the role play. We've never done that. Not for any bad reason. I don't think it's a bad thing. We just never done that. Maybe we should. Maybe we should spice things up a little bit with I don't want to perceive that I'm acting when that's going on. So we should, said Paul Roney. Hey, I didn't invite you. There's so many things you could do. Isn't that the truth, Carly? Give us a list, or come on and tell us some things. Carly, I want to hear what's on your mind. Bring on the spices. Yes, absolutely. Roger says, oh, I know my role, to please the lady over and over. LOL. There it is. And
Right. Please and repeat. Please and repeat.
Please and repeat. It's just like the back of a shampoo bottle. Rinse and repeat. So, though you don't always have to rinse. So, Steve brought us to the weather. The temperature is going to be down. It was 30 degrees, now 29. So I better go take care of Molly before she tries to come in the house. Yeah. Carly says, oh, if you want to hear what's on my mind now, better rate it XXX. Well, let's hear it. Okay, folks, the show is now XXX. Carly's coming on. So here's the link, Carly. I'll beep you if I have to. Beep. So Carly's going to come on and share what's on her mind with us eventually. An error occurred. Wait a minute, then try again. Pasting the link. Oh, to Facebook. Facebook's having some problems picking things up these days.
I wonder if it's selective
So
pickup.
it could be. It might be. I don't talk enough politics anymore for them to be too mad at me.
All
But
right.
I don't know. But we slip in a little bit every now and then.
It don't hurt.
I think everybody knows where I stand. I think I've been reviewed, I'm sure, for things I've said in the past on this show. And I don't engage in a lot of politics anymore. And you'll go, oh, yeah, you do. Well, that's because you all know me. You all know where I stand on issues. And I talk about things every now and then, and I try to keep it in that level playing field, express my views and say what I believe and disbelieve. I don't get into certain topics or they ban you. Oh, you can't talk about that on here. And I had asked when I was in a conversation with somebody from YouTube once that they took down one of my videos, and I reported it all to you this week, demonetized the video because, and they took it off. They just deleted it. They took it off because it was talking about things that I'm not allowed to talk about by their community guidelines. Now, you might think it might have to do something with maybe, I don't know, talking to Carly about her XXX rated stories. Or no, they don't ban you for that. You know what they ban you for? They ban you for talking about, I don't know, things even by saying the words. Is it being listened to? And they'll ban you because you say the words. But the last election, if I had a point of view I wanted to express about it, and I expressed a point of view, but that was 2 years ago, and it was taken down just last month. So that's interesting. They go back through and they start looking at all your stuff because somebody reports it, or then they go looking at your stuff, and all of a sudden, bang, you get something taken down, or you get banned, or whatever like that. Hey, Uncle Dave.
Good morning. How are you today?
I am just fine. What are you up to?
Just, morning coffee with you and breakfast.
Well, turn on your camera. You ain't a Fiat, are you? You ain't a Fiat of showing your face?
I'll turn it on in a little bit.
In a little bit, he says. There you go. Yeah, that would be that'd be Kenny Ballos. I'm channeling Kenny Ballos this morning. You don't have to have your hair fixed. You don't have to have your teeth in. Don't be a Fiat. You come on now. So let's see what else.
Some of the guests don't have their teeth in. That's always funny.
Yeah, that's true. I have mine in. They're still somewhat white for my age. I always thought I want to go get my teeth whitened, polished, so they look like they did when I was 9.
Do they match your hair?
Yeah, so they'll match my hair, glowing white. What does Roger Rabbit say? Let's put that up. I'm going to put it up big so I can read it. How dare we share the truth? This is America. That's no longer a privilege here. We shall sit quietly and accept what we're told and nothing more. Yeah, that's what they want you to do. Ain't that the truth?
Yeah, I ain't part of the sheeple.
And like I've said before, all these major companies like Facebook and YouTube and Twitter and Instagram and all those are all places that exist because they were because they were citizens of this country when they founded it. And they had the Constitution backing their right to do what they wanted to do, even though at the beginning they weren't all controversial. But they enjoyed the freedoms and the liberty of this country to be able to establish those companies. Then once they got really big, then they start, of course, denying you the same right they expressed and experienced in building their companies. You can't express while you're on their platform. That's an hypocrisy. And some of my liberal friends will say, why don't you just go start your own? Yeah, shut up. Hashtag shut up. Somebody had a lot of money to be able to start something like that and build it for 15 years to where it is now. And it's not the same thing. You can't just go start. We're all there, and it's like Elon Musk said of Twitter. He said it's the town square. That's what it's been established as. My son says, I wish I could come on this morning, but we forgot to get cat litter yesterday while shopping, so we're at the store. What? Son, you're shopping for cat litter instead of coming on the show?
Cat poo is more important than dad. Well, I never thought I'd see the day.
Cat litter. It's so the cat can poop somewhere. So, no, I understand that. I understand how that works, son. If you're hearing me.
It's life.
That's just life. There it is. So,
it just means that we're going to talk about you behind your back, Sam. That's all right.
Yeah, I don't know if he hears
Don't you worry
us. I don't know if he hears us. That's over in here. I'm just going to tell him. I just told the audience that you couldn't come on the show because you had to buy cat litter. That sounds an awful lot like something
being a grown-up.
I was told when I asked a woman out on a date back in my early 20s. Oh, I can't go out for a drink tonight. I'm buying cat litter. Oh, okay. Well, do you need a ride to the store? No, I like to walk to the store. Okay. All right.
I'll buy the cat litter for you.
Yeah, I'll get you cat litter.
Well,
my mom gave me special money for cat litter, and if I don't use it for that, I'll get in trouble. Yeah, you know how it goes. Yeah, there were certain women I asked out, and no, I can't. And by the way, in my mid-20s was when I learned that it was that you had to learn how to take no for an answer. And I wasn't aggressive or out of sorts about it or anything like that, but I hadn't learned that lesson yet in life. I had a woman I'd gone out with and spent the weekend with. It was actually a blind date. I was like 26, and we went out on a blind date, and I spent the whole weekend at her house, and I called her, and we got together a couple more times. She took me to a Vikings football game. She had season tickets, and we watched a Vikings game. We went out a couple of times, and then one time she just said, well, no, I can't go out today. I'm busy today. And she didn't open it up like, how about tomorrow? So I said it. Well, how about tomorrow? Well, no, I'm busy tomorrow too. Well,
she had a different 26-year-old staying over for the weekend.
Yeah. And she was 38, I think. She was like 10 or 12 years older than I was. And
age is just a number.
Yeah, just a number. Well, that's one of the few times in my life that it was the older woman. And she said, well, no, let's not do it this weekend. And she was cute blonde, and she worked on the Aquatennial, the Twin Cities, the Aquatennial parade and stuff like that. And she, I got business meetings with the Aquatennial staff and all that. Okay. Well, how about Thursday? And so I started going through my calendar. Okay, Thursday's out, Friday's out, Saturday's out, Sunday's out. What are you doing Monday? And she said, you don't take no for an answer, do you? I said, well, why don't you just come right out and tell me what you want to do? If you don't want to go out with me anymore, just say so. And she said, I don't want to go out with you anymore. I said, oh, well, okay, thanks. Bye.
I didn't expect you to actually say that.
Yeah, but I had to pry that out of her. And the point is the taking no for an answer. That was the point in my life. I can say the decided point in my life where I learned that lesson is that learn to read other people a little better. I was 26. I still had barely out of having a mind full of mush. And so I was starting to learn that lesson, and that one pounded it home for me.
And now you're back.
But then you want answers. You hang up and you go, well, was I not good? Am I too ugly for you? Am I too young for you? What happened? What did I do? But I didn't get that opportunity. So there it is. It's an unanswered question that no longer bothers me.
It's all the crying after sex, Scotty. Women aren't turned on by that.
Aren't turned on by what?
The crying after sex. Women aren't
crying after sex. Shaking from my tears so I couldn't light my cigarette. That was, remember, folks, that was the 80s. So we still smoked after sex.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, right. Before it was illegal.
No, that's why you use lube.
Yeah, I still smoked after sex.
That's you're supposed to use lube.
So
cut down on that friction.
Elderberry, I was with an older woman, but she looked younger. Malaysian beauty. Well, there you go. Yeah, she looked just as young as me. She had cute little crow's feet, though, that were starting. I didn't maybe that was it. Where you're laying and you're snuggling together and you're looking, oh, you have the cutest little crow's feet. Not going out with you again. So anyway.
Yep. In Morgan's younger days, actually, I wasn't even doing Morgan yet out there. There were several of the older women of court would drag me off on a Saturday night.
Yeah. Hey, Dave, while you're there talking, if you want to talk about something that's not important for my engagement, I'm going to go warm up my coffee. So I'm going to put you to full screen, and you're going to take over for 2 minutes.
Yay.
Here's Uncle Dave.
Well, I don't even know what to say. Currently painting. Well, okay. That's a broad term. I'm going to be painting today. I've actually planned on finishing Daybreak at Lindisfarne today. There's just a few elements that finally can be added in, and then that painting will be done. And then I will be moving on to Iceland and get that much closer to finishing. And I'm going to get out a roller and some black paint and completely paint out the canvas with Valhalla and completely start over from scratch, because it's so frustrating for me that every once in a while you paint something and it doesn't come out the way you intended. And the more you look at it, the angrier you get. And then it starts to eat away at your soul and say, oh, maybe you're not really talented. Maybe you're not gifted enough to paint this subject. Maybe you don't have what it takes. Maybe you should just throw the paints and brushes away. And so I've reached that point where I'm like, okay, I'm not going to listen to that. I'm just going to focus on something else. So I will be, oh, there's an alarm going off and I can't shut it off. There we go. I'll paint it out and let that set for a few days. And in the process of that drying, I will start the Sacking of York, which is yet another in the Viking series that needs to be completed. I have dates coming up in February where I want to do a showing, and I don't know if I'm going to have these done for that. So, yeah. that'll be that. And I have several Masonic paintings that need to get started. And so I have a thing coming up in March, and I'd like to have 2 or 3 of the Masonic paintings done for that exhibit. So that's that. And like Scotty, I have a list of unfinished writing projects that need to be finished as well. I'm trying to get myself into a new schedule where I paint in the morning when I have beautiful light in this room, and then in the evening do all my writing. And it's not worked out yet, just because life has been overrunning me. You know, my mom is currently in rehab for her broken leg, and so mornings are spent running down there, and or evenings are spent there. And once we're there, the whole day is gone. So then it needs to happen. Can't leave her alone. Have to visit her every day. But it's really cutting into the artistic endeavors. So what are the rest of you up to? I haven't even looked at the chat. Hey, Matthew. Hi, Elderberry.
All right. I got you.
Are we setting Flynn up with a sword? Yes, I'm working on setting Flynn up with a sword. He would. So there, he would like a sword to hang on his wall, and that's all well and groovy to have some wall hangers. I would like to set him up with a sword that's functional, especially if he's going to be starting to do festival and stuff like that. I want him to have a sword that functions both as a fighting sword and a wearing sword and looks good. So I don't want him to waste his money on a piece of junk.
So Rainey is not going to come on this today. She doesn't feel up to it. I just asked her, and she said, no, not today. And I said, you look good, though. She goes, no, not today. And I said, okay, you sure? She said, stop asking me. So there you go. She's not coming on.
Grumpy, is there a bread called Uncle Dave?
A bread?
Yeah. He keeps referring to me
a
as
loaf of Uncle Dave?
An artisan bread.
I could eat a loaf of you. That's what Grumpy Stack is saying. He's saying he wants a loaf of Uncle Dave because he wants to eat it and rub it on his face. And he hopes it's squishy and white so it shreds all over and turns into lotion.
That reminds me of Captain Morgan's poem to the king and the court, On Me Face.
On Me Face.
Remember that?
I remember that one. Not the words, but I remember the poem.
We used to do pirate poetry. And so there was myself and what was Laura's character? Captain Gray. And Sandy Bottoms, our first mate, and Spit, our bosun, and Spew, our quartermaster, and Squirt, the pirate.
the
Squirt,
the cabin boy.
Yes. Who when he, so it was all funny. Squirt, when the cabin boy was just a little kid, and he started out with us around 10 or 11, and because he was a little squirt, and but then at some point life happened, and it was like, wow, you're like 17 now. We can't call you. We should change you. You're no longer the cabin boy. You're now an able seaman. And so I'm introducing the crew that first Saturday without having thought of all the ramifications on that. And I'm like, and this is Sandy Bottoms, our first mate, and Spew, our quartermaster, and this is Squirt the seaman.
Squirt the seaman. Yes.
And
I was either there or I saw a recreation of that.
As the words were leaving my lips, I went, oh, that ain't right.
Yeah, that ain't right. That ain't right.
Oh, my God. And the audience
Did you know that Henry Morgan was a pirate who kept treasure he took from other ships in Jamaica?
Yeah, I know all about Henry Morgan.
Matthew
Who's
Sainsbury
writing that?
put that up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I played the fiction or the
Hi.
factual. Hey, Ellery, how are you? Captain
Come over to this
Morgan,
side.
not the Nancy get on the bottle.
Or you don't have to. You can just do that little
How are you,
game
sweetheart?
of staying
I'm
behind my
so
chair.
happy to see
You
you
have
wearing
pants on?
clothes. Yeah,
Oh,
she has
good.
pants on.
Good. Hi. Good morning. How are you today? Did you brush your hair?
No.
No. I could tell.
Have you gone out and sent me new
Pretty.
links?
Huh?
Have
Huh?
you sent Uncle Dave the new links he
Okay.
needed?
Have you looked at your Facebook Messenger? I've been asking everybody to tell you to look at your Messenger.
I don't think she. Yeah.
She sends me messages all the time, so I know you know what it is. Don't act like you don't know what it is.
I don't have it.
Yes, you do.
You've got other kinds of messengers. He maybe sent you something.
No,
You've got it, but
she
you might
sends
not
them
have looked
to me
at it.
on Messenger.
I think
So
Mom
I
set her up a kid's parent
She
protected
sends me messages
Facebook.
on Messenger. I reply to them.
You sure?
I don't have Facebook.
What do you have?
I don't.
Well, you don't have to have Facebook to have Messenger, but I know you have this because
Messenger.
you sent me the links for what you wanted for Christmas. Well, those links don't work anymore. So I've been trying to buy them and it won't let
Yeah,
me.
those were Christmas links.
You have to go out and find.
So go
two
find that
things
where you
like.
sent him links and resend those to Uncle Dave,
Send me something new.
or he'll be forced
Trying
to take you to Chinese.
Trying to get you your Christmas present, and you're the one that's lacking. So
Yeah, there it is. She's gone. She's long gone. She
Yeah.
flitted off.
So well, because she's
hey,
gonna
Kelly
get
Bell. Well, my eyes are fuzzy today.
Yeah, I hear that.
Matthew, she's already gone. I just saw your hi, Ellie. We'll pass that on to her.
So, anyways, I did pirate poetry, and one of the things we did was a poem called "On Me Face."
On me face. I remember this one.
It made the king do a spit take because we
I
caught him
think
off
you did a
guard.
series of those, didn't you?
We did a whole bunch of them, but "On Me Face" is so. It starts out, "Oh, the king's nuts, hot and salty. Eats them with beer. Let's see, how did that go?
And the King's Nuts, by the way, folks, it was a booth at the festival.
Yeah, all these things were food booths around the festival site.
Food booth, and it was called the King's Nuts.
And so we did this thing. I said, "Oh, the king's nuts, hot and salty," and he did a spit take.
Hot, the King's Nuts, so hot and salty.
We had
how I love them on my face was the closing line.
For Johnny Bear, the prince's bratwurst, big and bursty. Eats them with beer, they makes you thirsty. Anyways, oh, I wish I had that on me face. And then
I wish I had them on me face. Yes.
So we went through that whole thing. There's a whole bunch of stuff. One of these days, I'll dig out the logbook because it's all written down in the logbook, and I'll
here she's back.
Read some stuff for you.
What?
You're back.
There's nothing.
There's nothing.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Now there's a broken phone. Oh.
Don't break your phone.
Like that.
Is this Mom's phone?
No, that's mine.
You've got all your. Oh, she
phone.
did this to Mom's phone the other day. She said, "Mom, I recategorized all your stuff, and she put all the programs by color into different folders." So Rainey's like, "Where the hell are all my programs?" So let's see.
I'm going to send you a new message right now, so it should ping.
It's not there.
Hello, Ellery.
Okay. Was that a ping? Did I hear go ping real quick? Or let's see.
I've
Messenger is. I'm trying to find Messenger on her phone. All right, there is Photos, Drive, Chrome, Maps, Gmail. None of that. Okay, let's go backward. Oh, there you go. Where would Messenger be on here? I don't even see a miniature of it. Maybe she doesn't have Messenger.
Those are the ones I had, the phone one and that.
Just the phone one and whatever that is. Messages. Nope. You're not in here, Dave. She does not have Messenger.
Well, that's interesting because I have messages from her.
That's interesting too.
Somebody been hacked?
No, I don't think so.
Hope not.
Let's see.
No, because she sent me a video of her. So she wasn't.
Yeah. Well,
So it had to be her.
cute wallpaper is on here. There's Facebook. Here, maybe it's in here. If you go here, it doesn't work. Yeah, you got to log into that.
You sent me this.
Messages.
That was from Mom's phone a long time ago.
But it says Ellery at the top.
Yeah,
I see that.
That's from
That's
Ellery.
interesting. Well, it's not on her updated phone here.
Okay. Well, then you're
So-
going to have to reload that program on there at some point.
Or you'll have to send it directly to her phone.
I
There you
thought
go.
this was going directly to her new phone.
No idea. There you go, baby.
Okay.
I love you too.
I said I told you.
Oh, I said I told you.
She
Oh,
still loves you anyway.
she was reprimanding me. Not
Well,
telling
I
me
love
she
her.
loved me. She has Instagram, Scotty. It might be on there. It might be your Instagram. Well, no, you just sent it in Facebook Messenger, though.
Yeah.
So, yeah, she probably has that set up and it's not on her phone. Rainey might have taken it off her phone. So, you know how them things goes.
But didn't
Hey,
she
Anita
get
Palmer.
Rainey's old phone?
What?
Didn't she get Rainey's old phone?
She did. Morning, gentlemen. We have a storm coming in a -9 inches predicted. -9 inches. Greater than 9 inches or something. Might be just a typo. FB is a mess.
Yeah.
As a result.
It's not uncommon when it's cold for it to shrink up inside a little bit. But -9 inches is a lot.
Matthew Sainsbury says, eyes pink heart shape. I have no idea what the context of that is. So, let's see. So there. Yeah, you'll have to send it to her phone, Dave, or something like that.
Yeah,
So she
we'll
can see
get
it.
it figured out.
There you go. I don't like my little kids either having access to all these apps out there. I don't necessarily want them on Instagram, but there's safe things you can do with Facebook and Instagram, and
Well,
you
yeah,
get the TikToks, and it's like
Rainey
no,
had
no,
set
no, no.
a junior messenger or something,
Yeah,
was set
something
up.
like that.
and
Yeah, that'll pop into mine. It should be
Yeah,
popping into mine.
and
Here's the
it-
messages Ellery's getting.
yeah, and that's what's great about it is you get to see what the kids are getting. So if they're having conversation with somebody you don't want them having conversation, you'll know about it.
Yes,
Like when Rowan was communicating with me all the time when she was that age, I could see who else she was friends with, and it was Grandma and DJ and
Yep.
and just all the family members.
just
It
the
was,
people she could communicate with.
so it's all good.
Anita says, screwed up guys, 6 to 9 inches of snow. Where are you, Anita? That you're getting 6 to 9 today. I don't think we're getting any snow this week, which is kind of nice. I don't think we are. Just cloudy, just no sun. Oh, I saw some things. Speaking of no sun, Dave, have you heard about this? Medieval times. There,
The mini
I
ice
saw a
age.
little documentary last night on how in 536 they say was the most major environmental catastrophe ever to hit the planet in modern times, so to speak. And that in 936 they wrote about it in that day, saying, and the sun went dark, the rain fell, and it was like blood. And there were all these things, and it lasted for 2, 3 to 5 years, something like that, starting in 536. And there was somebody who had done his study on tree rings. Now,
And you can see it in there.
That'd be 1,500 years ago. I don't know if we have many 1,500-year-old trees around.
But they do. But they do because they
do,
use
and
that as a dating
timbers-
process in England. Yeah.
timbers built into homes all across Europe. All kinds of things like that. And they
I
found
can't what it's
that,
called. It's
something like
endocrinometry or something like that.
Yep. And it was, they found that after 14 years of study and researching this guy that developed this found that all the tree rings, they were stunted in 536 AD. And so something major catastrophic happened. Now, I don't know
Randall
if since
Carlson
that
talks about
documentary
it
they've actually
occasionally.
figured out what it was yet, but it's interesting.
Randall Carlson talks about it. From what I understand, there was a volcano or something
Yeah,
that erupted,
that's what
a
I
major eruption that put a huge
and it was
cloud in
like
the
for 2 years, this like nuclear
yeah,
winter.
created like a nuclear winter where
Yeah.
it blotted the sun out. I mean, the sun didn't go out, and it
Right,
wasn't
right,
like
right.
night, but it would be like living in northern Canada or Norway or someplace like that where they have 6 months of just twilight,
Yes.
but it was like twilight for like 3
Yeah.
years.
And
And
probably
so
you could probably see the
subsequent,
hazy ball of the sun
yeah,
through the thickness, but like on a think of a cloudy,
subsequently
lightly
what happened
overcast,
is
very humid day. You can see that little haze up there.
subsequently because of that, the crops failed,
Mm-hmm.
and so famine
There
happened,
was famine.
and there was a plague that followed it because you had poor nutrition and all that kind of stuff for 3 years, and then
Matthew said in 1600 Centauri had that one affected the whole Mediterranean. Right. Yeah, this would be that was 1600 BC. Yeah. And so you can go there today, and there's villages built up on the outer crater of what exploded there. Now they're getting rumblings and they get earthquakes there all the time. I wouldn't live there.
So what year did you say that was? Because is it in the
536.
500s?
536 AD.
So that also sucks to be British at this time. That's also around the beginning of the Viking horde heading west and sacking Lindisfarne, because I think that's 1630 or 537 or something like that.
It's probably as a direct result of this, needing to go out and plunder for food.
And so the poor Brits at that time, they're dealing with this mini dark age, and then here comes the Viking horde, over the horizon, and start.
I think that's where my family's red hair came from.
300 years of raids from them, and
they say the DNA I have says I've got 26% Scandinavian blood, which is not what the original DNA said. And I said, it came back a couple of years later and said, we've done some new research and you've got 26%. And I thought, well, that's got to be the Viking raids. They squirt the semen.
Somebody did.
It seemed like a good idea at the time.
Seemed like a good idea. Oh, don't pull my leg. You knew what you were saying.
No, actually, none of us had thought that through. We just said, it's kind of silly calling this man that's as tall as the rest of us a cabin boy. So we're like, you're not going to be a cabin boy this year. You're going to be a able-bodied seaman.
Oh,
and
here,
he's like,
Sam got back to me. What did Sam say? Let's find out. Her loss. Nice. Sam,
just one more batshit crazy woman that you're not attached to.
He said he couldn't come on today, much like my beautiful wife, because he had other things going on. And he said, I'd come on this morning, Dad, but I have to go buy cat litter. And I said, that sounds an awful lot like something I was told when I asked a woman out on a date back in my 20s.
They didn't even have cat litter to know.
Yeah. Oh, what kind of cat do you have? Oh, I don't have a cat. I think that was in the mix of those questions.
I believe the Devil's Tower was a tree. In fact, there's a whole bunch of those mountains that look like trees. The more and more I've been
go to Australia.
There's a site that I'm on that they keep posting petrified wood and various things, and I'd like to see Devil's Mountain from the top. Does it have rings?
Yeah, I don't know. You can see some places in Australia though that are awfully huge areas of land. I mean, you're talking 100 acres, 40 acres, something like that.
Let's face it, our planet is way older than scientists tell us it is, and far older than any theologists tell us. And when you look at that, and I believe humans have been here a lot longer as well. I think that we've seen civilization rise and fall and rise and fall and rise and fall.
Yep.
thousands of times. And so when they're like, oh, we may have records that go back to 10,000 years and such that we can see, but I think there's things that go back hundreds of thousands, if not millions of years with humans. And there are places where down in Texas, dinosaur track with human tracks in the mud. And so don't tell me that it was muddy and then it got hard and then it got muddy again. And then
There's somebody on the top of Devil's
That's all BS.
Tower.
Once it's petrified or turned into rock, it's rock. And so there's that. And there are footprints. When you go looking at the giant thing, there are footprints. They some big footprints in rock.
Yeah.
Can that rock had to be soft, which means it has to be
I'm looking for
thousands of years old.
Overhead pictures taken of this.
Yeah, I was thinking I might go
Google
Earth.
They're about as useful sometimes as a hole in the head. But give me an overhead shot of Devil's Tower, and you see it way out on the horizon from an airplane.
You can't.
It's
No
like,
one. But why won't they take that picture? Is it because it supports the theory that it's a stump?
It might. And why would they be against that? It's just science.
I know, but let's just face it. Academia does not like to support anything that they didn't think of.
Ain't that the truth? That's not my theory, so we can't support it. Yes, Patch.
I've seen videos where they break down Devil's Tower and other giant stumps, and their cell, their fiber cells.
Yeah, just like wood.
That's
just like wood.
The Earth is full of them.
And if that's a natural formation right there, why then can you not see this stuff?
Well, and if it was a tree, it's still a natural formation.
Sure. Well, I meant rock formation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Written in the Bible or somewhere that at one time trees were miles high.
I don't know. I don't recall that one in the Bible.
There's
but
things I've seen somewhere where this talks about that.
I've got a picture here that shows you Devil's Tower.
If you went back millions of years to when the dinosaurs were roaming, the dinosaurs were gigantic. Who's to say that the fauna wasn't gigantic or the flora wasn't?
I don't know why they wouldn't want to say, well, yeah, that's trees were bigger back then.
Well, look at the redwood forest. It's huge.
Yeah. These are like really big deadwoods and nobody cut them down. So how old were they?
To me, that looks like it was cut off. So then that makes me say, if it was that big, when it was that big, then that's just a stump. Who cut that off? Because it doesn't look like when a wind blows a tree over or snaps a tree, it's jagged.
Same in Australia, all those places. Mandy Moo, who comes on the show every now and then.
Yeah.
She took it. She showed me a bunch of pictures of these things, and it's like, oh my God, yeah, that looks like a big tree.
One of the
20 to 40 acres, something like that.
When I have time and we're not on the air, I'll go through there's an Instagram site that I came across, and this guy tracks this stuff. All the petrified forests, all the petrified wood, and these things, because his theory is that these are ancient tree stumps. I'll send you a link to his site because he's got some amazing photographs that he's taken and collected. He hasn't taken all of them, I'm sure, but
now this is the best quick photo I could get. It's loading it up right now of Devil's Tower, and it looks like this. That is there's an airplane in there, you see, flying, and but the top just looks like a bunch of rubble and dust and dirt up there. It's probably covered up. I don't think anybody swept it off lately. And,
here's a guy, some old Frank. They fly him up there, and he takes his push broom.
Yeah,
that's goddamn dust.
Dust. They just swept this off last week. So,
but it does look like a heavily weathered stump.
It does. It does.
Rocks don't grow like fibers.
Right.
The thing it does is plant material.
Yeah, Patch said they found that it's all made out of like fibers.
Yeah, well, and you can kind of see the top. It does look like, okay, I take back what I said. That does look like, well, it's a little bit flat, but if it had snapped off, because it's rather jagged to start with, if it had snapped off and weathered as many years as it's been there, it could be flattened out like that, I suppose.
Gilboa Fossil Forest in New York, United States, is a petrified forest and one of the oldest known forests, located near the Gilboa Dam in Schoharie County, New York. Have I said that right? The region is home to tree trunks from the Devonian period.
Maybe Schoharie County?
Might be Schoharie, SCH. The fossils,
Yes.
some of the only survivors of their type in the world, are believed to have been from one of the first forests on Earth and was part of the Earth's afforestation. Paleobotanists have been interested in the site since the 1920s when construction work, boom, bang, bing, and it cuts off there. Thank you,
Yep.
Anita Palmer, for that. Maybe we are the real Lilliputians from Gulliver's Travels, said Roger
Maybe
Rabbit.
we
That was
are.
astute observation, Roger. Thank you. Thank you for that. I've wondered that many times. So there it is. It looks like a big tree stump. So it'd be interesting to be able to nail that down because there's stuff like this all over the world. And it's a singular, what we would call a rock formation out in the middle of nowhere else where there's anything else like it. So was this a tree that was felled? Even you look at the bottom down where it starts hitting the ground, it looks like
root
eroded
systems.
earth away from a root system. So
Yeah.
I
Well,
would
you
think
know,
there would still be a root system of some kind, maybe, unless that rotted away. And what's exposed became fossilized. I don't know. I don't know how that works.
maybe those roots are quartz veins, or who knows what they are now, because they're
Yes.
underground.
Yes.
So
I don't know. Could you dig and find out?
I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't know nothing.
On the argument that it's not a tree, why is it all by itself? Where are the? I mean,
right. And you see other trees around it,
if the
so it gives
trees
you
were
an
that
idea of the
big,
size
how far
comparison.
apart would they be?
Yeah.
You know, can you say, okay, well, in a real forest, trees grow about 20 feet apart from each other or whatever? I don't know what
And
the
is
exact
there enough
figure is.
land mass to fill a huge forest of trees of this size? Yeah, probably.
Oh yeah, there's plenty of land mass. But then you wonder, okay, so if in an average forest trees grow so many feet apart, then you extrapolate up that this is this big around, so many miles this way or so many miles, there should be other stumps or other formations that would be worth looking into.
Yes, definitely. I'm going to see, while we're just talking about stuff, I'm going to see if there's other pictures. I already shut down my search. Never mind. But that's cool. So, yeah, we just talked about this site last week.
Yeah, with Ruben.
Yep. And how that one of the things we put up a picture, I still have the pictures in the back somewhere.
With the bear with the long tail.
Matthew Sainsbury mentioned it again here, how that was, they called it like Bear's Lodge or something like that. And that the Native Americans used to call that's all the scratch marks of the giant bear that was chasing the children. And
because that's what bears do to trees.
That's right.
And telephone poles.
Especially giant bears and giant trees.
And in the native mythology, the maidens get on top of this stump and it grows.
Yes.
Rises up out of the ground to save them.
That's right. That's right.
Because it was a stump.
There you go. It was a stump. Kelly Bell says, Palmer, Anita, Gilboa, New York, fossil forest, where my grandma came from. Crazy history. Oh, that's neat, Kelly Bell. Scotty, there's a Bennu or Benny bird there in the Montana megalith. Oh, that's interesting. That's an Egyptian bird, the Bennu. You see them in I don't have one sitting here. I had something with a picture on it of it on there. It's got you've seen the headpiece with the long, looks like a pterodactyl head.
Yeah.
It's a Bennu bird. So, Arr. So, do we have a picture of a Bennu bird? I think it'd be interesting. Let's see. We'll find out. There. Feel free to keep talking.
Oh, sorry. I'm
It's all right. It's all right.
still getting over the fact that you told me to shut up.
Shut up.
You wounded him.
Well, you can't really. Well, it's in this. The only picture I've got is this. This was the a proposal. So it's all writing, but I don't think I can zoom in on the picture. The only picture I have of the Bennu.
A bird is a bird. It's a bird with a big beak.
Comes up
but
like
not a
that.
toucan.
Look way up in the upper left. That little section where he's holding the staff.
It looks like the Red Baron.
And that's the Bennu. That is, yeah. Below that is the Bennu bird. So there you go. There's that. All right.
Yet another book that needs
Teresa
to be finished.
Dantone is here. She says, I found what looks like an alligator in Utah. Oh, cool. I don't doubt it.
That's interesting.
Morgan Snow said, we're shrinking. Yeah, faster than you know. Some of us faster than others. Anita Palmer, wow, 5 miles up the road from me. Went to school there, spent a lot of time there and know a lot of the residents that live there. I'm assuming you mean.
How big are the trees?
Kelly Bell says Sobek stuff. Yes, exactly. Yeah, probably the Petrified Forest. Great Humphrey Bogart movie.
One of my favorites.
Yes.
Yeah. The first time I saw that, I was dumbstruck.
Yeah, an amazing film. Anything.
You know, and what's interesting about it's just a bunch of people sitting in a diner having conversation.
That's it. The whole movie.
And
it was
it's
riveting.
so captivating. And so here's the thing. He and Leslie Howard had done it on Broadway.
Okay. Yep.
Okay.
Before
and
the movie.
Leslie is now in Hollywood and they're making the movie and they want Leslie to reprise his role. And he says, well, you got to bring my friend Humphrey in. And Humphrey Bogart was not known.
No.
And they brought him in from New York. And they weren't the producers. It took a lot of convincing. And Leslie said, well, if he doesn't do it, I don't do it. And Leslie was the name. Cool. Leslie was the name at the time. So and now you think back, Leslie Howard he's a big star, but he's not near as big as Bogart. But Bogart wouldn't be Bogart if it hadn't been for Leslie sticking up for him. Yeah.
Right. Leslie Howard, another one of my favorite movies of his. Wasn't he the original Scarlet Pimpernel?
Scarlet Pimpernel.
What a great movie.
That's a great one too. Yeah.
I still love that. Leslie Howard's interpretation. They seek him here. They seek him there. Those Frenchies seek him everywhere. Is he in heaven? Or is he in that damned elusive Pimpernel? He played the fop, of course, who was the Scarlet Pimpernel. So, great stuff.
Yeah, that was a great film. And I love the portrayal of the king, the English king.
Yes, yes.
Or actually Prince Regent. I think he was the Prince Regent, not the king. Because it was before George took the throne. But yes, they're all, because that's the time when foppish dandies were ruling the court and everyone wanted to be fancier than the other guy.
Oh, here it is. Here's some I call it Petrified Forest quotes from the movie.
Oh yeah.
Leslie Howard's character said he
Betty
was Alan
Davis,
Squire.
is it not? Betty Davis, the female.
Yes, she was in that, and so it was Leslie Howard, Betty Davis, and then Humphrey Bogart. He got third
Yeah.
billing on that.
Yeah.
Any woman's worth everything that any man has to give. Anguish, ecstasy, faith, jealousy, love, hatred, life, or death. That was a line, Alan Squire's line by Leslie Howard. Let's...
Who played
Alan
the football
Squire
player?
said, yes, brains without purpose, noise without sound, shape without substance.
There's a football player in there. Who played that?
I don't remember.
I love it
Bogart.
because he's supposed to be like a college kid, but when I look at the film, I'm like, is he in his 40s?
Yeah. I just put a little
Everybody
more
looked so
blush
much
on his
older back
cheeks.
then. Everybody looked so much older back then.
Humphrey Bogart, as Duke Mantee in The Petrified Forest, said, I spent most of my time since I grew up in jail. It looks like I'll spend the rest of my life dead. So, what else I want to see more Bogart lines from that movie.
When we were doing Take the Moon, I was doing lots because it's set in 1934, and I just really immersed myself in that time period. In 1934, for $1.75, you could get a tweed wool suit.
$1.35. Yep.
75. $1.75. You could buy a suit from Sears, a tweed wool suit.
And that would be the equivalent to what? Your weekly rent on your room was $5. So, there you go.
Yeah. You could get steak, eggs, toast, hash browns, and coffee with juice for like 45 cents.
That's it.
And I'm just like,
that'll be 2 bits. That'll be 2 bits, mister.
I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Oh my God, life was good then. There's a lot of different periods that I've often thought, if I could go back to the Elizabethan, but you'd probably get hung as a witch or something for the knowledge you have.
Yeah.
But to go back to the 30s,
the 1930s, post-World War II, I thought would be a neat place to live in America.
You're coming out of the Depression and all that, and just really enjoy life there for a bit. Just, God, that would be fun. Because there were no more burnings. People might look askance at you, but you're not going to get burned.
Yeah. Shagging one thing, burning another. From Rob Roy.
Yeah. Though, if you're in a small enough town, you could still get tarred and feathered, so you'd kind of want to watch out for that. But
yeah, I always thought the 30s would be a neat time period to live in if you weren't, the downtrodden Dust Bowl post fall of the stock market type of person.
Cruising around in a red 2-door Packard Roadster.
The bee's knees. He knows his onions.
Yep.
There's a couple of 1930s phrases for you. He said, Patch said that'd be the bee's knees. I said, well, you know your onions. Both common phrases in the vernacular in 1929, 1930. So let's see. We got Wendy. Oh, my goodness. Hey, Wendy.
Hello, darling.
Hello.
How's your day? Still foggy there?
It's a beautiful sky outside, but it isn't foggy anymore. But it's bloody
foggy
cold.
Here.
It is so cold.
It's cold. How cold is it?
Well, enough cold that I don't even want to go outside, and I love the cold.
Yeah. Is it like I don't know, 40 degrees Celsius?
Do you know, I'm gonna have to check that. I know, but I just saw you
very
guys on,
interesting.
and I just
Hey, let's find
say,
out. Let's
Scotty,
find out.
I saw the picture of you.
Hey Siri, what's the current temperature in Sutton, Surrey, England?
It's 21 degrees here. Fahrenheit.
34. So 34 Fahrenheit.
Oh.
So I don't know what the hell that is in Celsius.
I saw the video. It was so funny. I shouldn't say this.
Oh, when I fell?
Where you fell over, but when you put the bear.
Oh, yeah.
That was so funny.
That was real. The bear was really there.
It just came out of nowhere, did he?
Just out of nowhere and vanished. He didn't even eat me.
That's what Wisconsin bears do.
Yeah, Wisconsin bears. They're just a little they're a little tactile, but they're also a little
bears.
hostile.
And as
And
Uncle
so they got to
Dave
touch
said,
you, and then they run.
you're supposed to say, "Hello, bear. Hello, bear."
Hello, bear. Hello, bear.
Here, bear. Here, bear.
That would be Wendy. That would be Wendy in the woods. I could see that. Hello, bear. Hello, bear.
Don't be naughty.
Bear.
Don't be naughty. Hello,
Here's some
bear.
biscuits.
It's here, bear. Here, bear. Here, bear.
Here, bear. There, bear. Everywhere. How are you both? Are you all doing well?
I am
I
fantastic.
am fantastic now.
I'm actually still a little sore from that fall. Now, it's not like, oh, I got a bruise here or a broken bone. It shook up my rib cage a bit.
Oh,
And so my lower back to my rib cage and my back is kind of like,
it was spectacular how you went down. You went
It made me hurt just watching.
It's always spectacular when I go down.
And then your leg just sort of came off, and I was like,
Yeah,
That's what this is all for.
you know, women kiss
this
and
is all
their
for.
foot, their heel comes up. And I go down.
Nobody
my
likes
leg
the cold
pops out.
feet.
that was classic. I actually watched it a couple of times, and I thought, you poor bugger. And because Raini couldn't help but put it out there, could she?
I know. She said, she actually put it in her caption. She said, since it's now the next day and he's okay, I'm going to put this up.
She's getting you back now for all the pictures of where you have like her boobs on show with a thin line going through it.
Oh, yeah, that's over on my Instagram. She was wearing that coat right there.
Quite frankly, I don't think she
She
minds.
had her
She's an
arms up
orphan.
and she was bare chested, and so I put a little thin line across her and put "not for public consumption."
It was very good, very well done.
Thank you. That was in 2006, I want to say. I think that's
As I said to her sister Kate one day. Kate flashes the entire room full of people, and I'm like, Kate, is there anyone in the English-speaking world that have not seen those beautiful little breasts?
Yeah, that was Kate. She was the one, not to embarrass her, but she's not listening. She was the one who said she was living with us. She's 10 years younger than Rainey, so she was 20. She was 18, just turned 18, and she came up upstairs. Rainey and I are having coffee and talking and doing stuff for the day, and Kate comes upstairs and she says, she pulls up her shirt and naked, of course, and she goes, "Come on, Scotty." She says, "I just turned 18 today. Time to ditch the old bitch and go with the young one." And I said, Rainey laughed, of course. It was funny. Yeah. But the Olsen girls constantly always doing
Which
stuff.
is why I always just write Olsen anytime there's flashing. I'm so used to it.
Olsen, Dave says. So what looked painful?
I've seen those girls topless more than I think I saw my ex topless.
Yes. Carry a pot of honey with you at all times when there's possibility of encountering a bear. Yeah, that's it. If they don't get you first and kill you to get your honey, you can
because if they're going to eat you, they'd like to coat you in a nice layer of honey first. So you can taste better.
Here's honey. Go get it. Fetch.
You know,
while they maul
the
you.
I was in Canada. I wanted to see a bear. I was just thinking, well, you know, but actually they don't often come into town. They're sort of on the outskirts.
No,
right.
They do. But I remember like thinking when I was first out there, here we are. It says, watch out for bears. What do I do? I didn't know. I was from London. I didn't know what to do if I saw a bear. And then you go into the stores and you'd see like bear spray or you know, this is what you do. But
that's to make you smell more appealing to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think in the end of it, you're just kind of like, oh my God, you know, but I never actually I have still yet to see a bear. I would like to see one. Not that close, but
my theory has always been if there's a bear in town, I'm more leery of those than a bear I'd see in the woods. And that's because if they have decided to come into town, which they normally shy away from, they're either very hungry or they're very ill. In either case, you don't want to be.
There was that bear, and I told that story. It was, let's see, we had Flynn and Rowan. I don't think we had Ellery yet. So it was over in the Nevada house across from James Miller. You remember Dave. And we were at the top of a T of the road. Our house sat right there, and it looked out the front door. You look right down the side road there. And quiet little residential neighborhood. And one day, out of the corner of my eye, I'm standing in the driveway in the afternoon, and I see what I think is Jim's old dog, his big, overstuffed, over fluffy German Shepherd, out the corner of my eye, running down the street. And I turn and I look, and it's a bear that's standing about this tall, a little taller. It's probably about 350 pounds, would be my guess. And it's loping down the middle of the street, right toward my house. Not running, not blah, 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 growling or rabid.
Just having a good old
loping
time
down the street. And we had a friend of Rainey's was over, of her mom's, that came over to clean our house because we were having a big party. So we had her come over. She said, I'll come over and help clean. And she's in her trunk of her car, which is parked out on the curb in front of the house. And she's in her trunk digging out cleaning supplies. The bear lopes, just kind of goes right by her, ignores her within 3 feet of her, and goes around the front of her car and then into our front yard, and then between the houses and out back where there were fields out there. It just keeps going. And we ran out back, and I took a picture of it by the time it got really far away. But it was the bear from down at the river, what do they call it? The shallows or something down here. Oh, yeah, because I called the cops and said, there's a bear running through our yard. And they said, oh, yeah, that's probably the bear from down on the river. And she comes through here a couple times a year. And I go, oh, she cuts through my front yard this morning. And so didn't care about us, wasn't interested. She was going from one place to another. Now, I don't know what would have happened if she'd have been confronted. She just run over
and
gone around.
The kids were inside. If the kids had been in the backyard, who knows?
The kids were in the front yard. And
were they out?
Rainey yelled out. She goes, bear! Like that. And I'm like, I thought it was the dog. I think that's when I saw that it was the bear. Because it's just out of the corner of my eye. You see something moving. Oh, that's Sully. No, that's not Sully. That's a bear. And then Jim comes out like 30 seconds later with shotguns and guns. And he's, bear, where's the bear? He heard Rainey from all the way over at his house across the street. So, and he came out loaded for bear. Oh, but I'm ching. You see what I did there?
Yeah. But, you've got little ones and they're a tempting target for a bear.
Yeah, they are. They're soft, squishy morsels.
I have to say we have
Best
nothing
one dipped
like
in
that.
honey.
Yeah, nothing
You got
to
nothing
worry
like
about.
that? You got no bears in Sutton,
No.
Surrey?
The only thing we have in England that I think that look, we have a fox, and the poor thing gets so much, you know, I mean, they
Fox
really
and hound.
are. They're treated badly in so many ways. And we have a, what's a snake? The adder. We have an adder here, which can give you a bit of a nip. And we have also the false widow spider, apparently now, which can give you a bit of a nip. But that's
Nice.
none of them are killers. None
We
of
got the
them are.
black adder.
We don't
So
have
now-
to worry.
Do you guys still have elk or deer, don't you?
We have deer. Yeah, we do. Not in town or anything.
Mostly
But
up in the Highlands.
that, going out, I mean, I'm in Sutton, but if you went to sort of Epsom and further on from there, which is going into Surrey, the county, you're going to find more deer. I mean,
Up
Okay.
into the
run
forests of Nottingham, Sherwood, and Barnsdale.
Nottingham.
Nottingham. Thank you for
Nottingham.
correcting me.
It's so weird because when Kevin Costner did that movie, Prince of Thieves, he went Nottingham, and it's Nottingham, and I'm just like,
Nottingham.
no, it's like Nottingham.
Yeah.
We did that when we
that's one of the
were
reasons
there.
I like Cary Elwes as Robin Hood in the Mel Brooks thing. He's like, at least I can do a British accent.
Yes, yes.
I
Like-
tell you, the worst actor in that Kevin Costner Robin Hood was Christian Slater. He was dreadful. He couldn't pass a British accent, which is not easy for everyone.
He
to do.
said, Kevin Costner said he was hired for the role because of his popularity. And
Yeah.
he said he came from Dances with Wolves right onto the set within the same week when he finished Dances with Wolves. He went right on. He said the first scene they filmed with him, he was kind of sick. He wasn't feeling good. He just came off. He hadn't cut his hair at all. And it was when he was riding the boat up to the cliffs of Dover.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then gets off and kisses the ground.
Which is
And,
weird
I mean,
because Dover is nowhere near Nottingham. And,
Right.
that's right.
And it's the best actor in that film was Alan Rickman. And
Yes.
he was one. Not only did he look incredibly fit,
He
and
sounded so English.
Yeah. It's amazing the way Rickman pulled that off.
I'm going to cut it
I
out.
wanted him to use a spoon because
I'm
it
gonna-
would hurt more.
Isn't that what he said? I'm going to cut your heart out with a spoon.
Ugh.
And they also had Brian Blessed, which is an incredibly famous English actor, and he was the father. Obviously, there's two stories of Robin Hood. You've got Robin of Huntington, and then you've got Robin of Locksley. Robin of Locksley would be the poor one. Robin of Huntington was the rich one. So I think they probably put it that he was Robert of Huntington in that one.
I don't remember.
A big castle,
well, it was Locksley, didn't in the Costner movie. He was Locksley, I thought, because I remember
they called him Locksley.
Alan Rickman yelling Locksley.
Robin of Locksley was supposed to be the poor one, not
yes,
but the
yes.
best one
And then there's Robert Hood. Robert Hood,
Hood,
which was the historical, actual Robin Hood, I believe.
You look up. I have a book around here. Was what I felt at the time was the quintessential Robin Hood, scholarly Robin Hood book, and it was written by James, and I can't think of his last name now. I've got it around here somewhere, but he taught at Oxford history, chair of history at Oxford, and he wrote his book on Robin Hood. And this is back. I got this book almost 40 years ago, but I remember writing to him because I wanted him to come on my show, my radio show, about 15 years ago or something, and talk about Robin Hood. And I got an email back that says, Dr. I can't think of his last name. He says, he just passed away last week. We're sorry. He won't be able to make your show. And
dreadfully sorry, but he's passed away.
Sorry.
Could we reschedule?
I think one of the best Robin modern day. I mean, they do lots of different versions, and they'll carry on doing it. But I still think the best Robin Hood story is Robin of Sherwood, that had Michael Praed.
Oh yeah, the series
as the first Robin Hood, and then obviously Jason Connery was the second. But Michael Praed bought when that first come out, the music that Clannad did with that series. Obviously, they incorporated Herne the Hunter as well, and what was the name? The Silver Arrow, and they also brought in oh my God, the sword's name,
Albion.
You know, they incorporated quite a lot into that, and it was such a good series. And you actually felt that Ray Winston was an absolute fantastic scholar. And then you had Clive Mantle as Little John, Phil Rose as Friar Tuck.
You knew personally, he's a personal friend of yours, Connery's son, right?
I do.
He played Robin in
I
that.
do know Jason. Yeah, and it's so weird because Jason is quite
His
a
son
shy guy.
played in the series, the British series, years and years ago.
But yeah, and I actually said to him, Michael was my favorite Robin.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's interesting because I have an actor friend over here who knew Michael.
Oh right, okay.
They were classmates.
Which
or
Michael?
Something.
Michael Praed.
Oh,
yeah. Michael's
liked,
problem. So Michael's problem was he got too big for his britches in as the season went on and demanded more money. He said, "I'm Robin Hood. You have to pay me more money. You can't do the show without me." And then the producers are like, "Is there a version where Michael or the Robin Hood comes from a wealthy family?"
Yeah.
I think also you'll find he was offered Broadway. He was offered Prince of something on Broadway.
Princess Bride,
something, Pirates of Penzance. He was offered that, and he was
doing a soap opera or something, wasn't he?
It was Dynasty, and basically they said to him, "Look, you can either do another series of Robin of Sherwood," and he was like, "Dynasty, Robin of Sherwood." So he picked Dynasty, where he didn't stay that long, and then obviously Jason took over, and I think that there was a lot of crew that didn't get on with Michael that absolutely got on with Jason. And I think a lot of the crew, from what I heard, got on easier with Jason than they did with Michael. And I know a friend of mine, Barnaby, I think he's one of your friends as well, Scotty. He actually brought back Robin of Sherwood as an audio drama, and he got some of the original original scripts from Richard Carpenter, who actually did the series, was wonderful. He actually managed to find something, and they did this whole audio series. And what amazing if they could bring that to television, because it was as he was now as an older man, as Robin of Sherwood. So, but I think it's a wonderful series.
So back in the day, I had a producer contact me, and she said, "Hey, and Jan was half English, half American. Her grandfather had been D.W. Griffith's editor, and her mother was her grandmother was an English writer, I think, and then her dad, who was born in America. No, her dad was born in England and married somebody from America. And then she was born in England and married somebody from America, and back and forth. So the 3 generations of keeping a house in Devon, keeping a house in LA, and working in the industry.
Wow.
So she was a producer, and she was working with ITC at the time, who owned the original rights to the 1950s Robin Hood show. And they were going to reproduce a new version of Robin Hood for TV. And she called me out and she goes, "You're way into this medieval stuff. Would you like to work on Robin Hood?" And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I'm totally
How cool
in."
would that be?
And so I was brought in to do all of the props. Okay. And literally we've got a whole detailed
What year
thing.
was that? What year was that?
90. What year did
You
Cochrane's
had
film
me
come out?
working on sketches.
Well, no, that's different. That's after I took over. So what happened is
this,
Kevin Costner's film was about to open, and the producer, it was NBC and ITC working together, and the guy at NBC that was really the driving force behind all this, he was a huge Robin Hood fan. Got into a serious car accident. I mean, a major accident. And so he was replaced by this producer, and I think he was maybe 14. I laugh, but he was some young punk kid that they brought in to head up this project that was already way into the works. We had costumers, we had props, we had all this stuff going. And he said, I don't really know about all this Robin Hood stuff. So let's see how Kevin's film does. And if it does well, let's push forward.
Was his voice still cracking? I don't know all this Robin stuff.
He seemed, I mean, seriously, it would be like Flynn coming in and taking over a production.
Yeah.
I just looked at this kid and I thought, who is this punk ass kid? And I was
by the way, this picture I put up, that's a logo I designed for Wendy, who was part of putting on that event in 2018.
Well, I was asked to. I mean, like basically Barnaby, who did all this.
Yeah.
He brought it back to life, and he said to me, like, I was actually going to go up there, but actually I was not well. But he said, "Would you design the one of the things?" So I said, "Well, actually, I've got some ideas, but I'm going to give it to my friend Scotty." And actually, so they actually used Scotty's design for their
awesome.
program.
That's cool.
and that theme.
Well,
and I never
Scotty did my artwork as well. So what happened is they canceled the project because they didn't feel that Costner's thing did well enough to promote a TV show.
Oh, that movie, though, it did do well, didn't it? I thought it did very well at the box office.
But the NBC guy didn't think it did well.
Oh.
So anyways, they pulled the plug. And so I said, well, can I walk away with everything I've done? And can I take this? And the people at ITC said, yeah, go ahead and do whatever you want.
Well, so all these
that's when I wrote Sherwood. And I took Howard Pyle and took a step to the left and rethought everybody's relationships in that. In my version, the sheriff and Robin were good friends, and they were good friends of Richard. And what happens is when Richard is captured, Robin's like, let's grab an army, let's do this, and the sheriff is like, no. We have to follow the letter of the law, and the law says John is the regent. So I have to do what John says.
Sure.
And in the process, Robin and the sheriff cross, and Robin becomes an outlaw. And Sir Guy, or Guy, is a Knight Templar who was one of Richard's personal guard, who sold him out to the King of Austria, okay, for 30 pieces of silver. So when he comes ashore at Dover, you see him toss down his Templar surcoat and collect this sack of coin.
That was one of the versions of the name.
He becomes the bad guy, right?
Yeah.
And Tuck is based on, there is an actual figure from history that they called that friar. And what this guy would do, this friar would do, he believed in his vows of chastity and poverty. And he thought the church was getting too wealthy. So he would roll up to a priory or to a convent or what have you, and he would roll up and he would have letters from the Pope that said he was to take over this priory, and the current prior or abbot was to head to Rome to meet with the Pope for a new assignment. And so, they're like, oh, I get to go to the Pope? Oh my God, this is amazing. And so they would get on a horse and off they would go. He would take over and he would send all the monks out on missions. Okay. Then he would sell off the granary and he would sell off the land and he would collect all that wealth. And then he would disperse across the countryside, giving away the gold and giving away what stores he had in his wagon until he was out. And he'd go to another abbey or another priory, and he would do this over and over and over again. This
Hey,
guy
Eddie Castle, by the way, over in the chat room, and Ryan Gale.
So I thought, well, that sounds like Tuck. And so I used that as the template for Tuck. So when he gets to England and he meets up with Robin in Sherwood, it just is the perfect connection then to bring that in. Of course, we had Emily Marion, we had Will Scarlett and all of that. In our story, Scarlett was a Saxon who was working for the sheriff as the head of the sheriff's men. And his argument with Robin at the time, the reason he stayed with the sheriff initially was the Saxons weren't getting a fair hand legally, but with him there, they would get a fair hand. He would treat them the same as he treated everyone else. As long as if they were breaking the law, they would be punished. If they weren't breaking the law, they would be fine. But under a Norman rule, they couldn't guarantee that. But of course,
here comes, by the way, looking
Professor
very
Bauer.
Robin Hood-esque himself,
Yes.
Professor Bauer. You're looking a lot like the Sean Connery version of Robin Hood from Robin and Marion.
Well, but so in this storyline, I had Scotty do up a whole ton of set design work for me, and in that we had their hideout in Sherwood was actually an ancient Iron Age burial mound that had been overgrown, and so Scotty did some beautiful drawings of what that would look like. And storyline wise, we were planning to make that Boudica's burial mound. So they would discover this ancient sword that she had used to rise up against the Romans, and it would be the weapon that Robin used to rise up against John and all of that. So
Boadicea, right?
Yeah, the Americans, we always mispronounce that.
There's a big statue of her in London. If any of you've watched that series Britannia,
yes, the one where I don't know all the actors' names, but
it's quite a psychedelic version of it, isn't it? Like,
yes.
It's got the guy who was in Pirates of the Caribbean as the main druid, and
didn't that have the guy who played the governor from The Walking Dead?
Yes.
Played the Romans, the Roman general.
Well, they haven't come up to the point where obviously Boadicea literally becomes the woman and fights the Roman. She's still a child. I don't know if they're doing another series of it. I think they are, but it's been a kind of quiet on that one.
That was one. The woman who plays Beth in Yellowstone, the daughter of Kevin Costner in Yellowstone, she was in that as well as.
Yes, she was
kind of a Boudica type of a character, but not exactly. So
what's going on, Prof, with the hair?
What's going on?
It's growing. I'm about 7 months away from my last haircut, and I'm
nice.
Very George Harrison,
and I'm not stopping now.
It really suits you.
Well, over the last 15 years, I've grown it out. And in fact, the first time I grew it out at 50, I ended up with a nice ponytail, and my daughters would do a nice braid, and then
Yeah.
I'd cut it off. So I think I'm on my 5th version of letting it go again.
Suits you.
And it, you know, I got to tell you, the short stuff is a hell of a lot easier to maintain than the long stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
But there's a certain amount of Robert the Bower,
Robert the Bower.
as opposed to Robert the Bruce.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sex muffin going on there, really, though. The whole
Whoa.
sex muffin.
There you go. There you go,
Because it
Professor
looks-
Bauer.
looks
That would
sexy.
make my head spin.
It looks sexy.
Well, the thing that I've also noticed is that it was in my late 40s, I started getting the white stripes over the sides here. And I thought, yes, this is it, because I wanted to go all white so I can do an Einstein kind of thing. And it stayed that way. And then over the last 2 years, I've got these little streaks going on, but it's gotten dark again. So I don't know if it's coffee I'm drinking or the weed I'm smoking or what's going on, but my hair's now
cracking.
It's going back to brown with some streaks in it. And no, I did not have these done. They are natural streaks. So just
we got to mention that nowadays. You know, many people think I bleach my hair, but I really don't. This is natural white.
Yeah.
I'd love to have that whole natural white, because the beard's gone.
This went a long time ago.
Fox. You're just a white fox.
Why, thank you.
Instead of being silver
And
fox.
don't all you guys wish you could be called that by Wendy?
White fox.
There it is.
So I was listening to all of your
Dave,
conversations about all of these mythological characters and these different stories. And I find it fascinating. One of the things that I've learned recently is that, we have these things in our past where they're called rituals, right? And habituals, things that we do out of historical relevance or habit. And I've heard that there's there's a society in England that you may be aware of, Wendy, called I think it's called the British Pilgrimage Trust. And what they're doing is they have these historical sites in England where they have these regular pilgrimages. And I guess there's one, the Glastonbury, I think, is one of the big ones.
Yes.
I guess, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, there was maybe 1,000 people that went on these pilgrimages. And in 2019, I think they had 300,000 people.
Wow.
That are doing these pilgrimages to these ancient sites and ancient cathedrals in particular, where a lot of these myths and legends and so forth seem to be perpetuated and maintained. So it seems as though some of these stories are coming back, or they're having more relevance as people are trying to find meaning with all of the crazy crap that's going on around the planet.
Well, Glastonbury is one of the famous ones because obviously it's. I've only been to Glastonbury once. Mark and I are thinking of going back, and I'm surprised, Scotty, you've not been to see it, because it's where they think
at Glastonbury.
I've
been there a couple of times.
Did you go to tour?
Yes.
And obviously you've got the hill, haven't you? With
we climbed up the tour there.
And then it's where they think what do they call it? The chalice, the
chalice well.
No,
the Holy Grail.
Holy Grail. Yes, obviously they came there, but it's such what I love about Glastonbury is everywhere you go on a corner, there's a psychic, there's a clairvoyant.
My friends who I went there in 2005. And by the way, the picture I put up is one of the set drawings I did for Dave 30 years ago, 25 years ago.
Yeah, crazy.
But my friends in the car, we pulled into Glastonbury.
That's great.
And my friend said, "Wow, what is this, a Wiccan ghetto?" I said, "Just about." So
there's a story with Glastonbury that when I was a child, I had a temperature, quite a high temperature that wouldn't break. And my nan had gone down to Glastonbury on a tour, and she was on visiting where the cathedral had been, and there's a place at Glastonbury that you can go and pray. And my nan had rung my mum before she went and said, look, I'm going to go. Because obviously then you had to find a phone somewhere. You didn't have a mobile. You had to find a phone from somewhere. So she'd gone on the tour. And as she'd gone by this altar to light a candle and to make a prayer to ask for my fever to break, she said there was this a nun she said she walked past this nun and she was just like, oh, could you tell me where blah blah blah, and this lady just pointed to that direction. And so my nan always said she remembered looking at the time when she'd made the prayer. So when she came out and they finished, and then she rang my mum to see how she was doing, she said, how's Wendy? And my mum said, well, thankfully her temperature is broken. And she said, oh, what time did it break? And my mum said, well, I think it must be about an hour or so. And that was the time my nan sent the prayer out. But what the weird thing was, when my nan actually said to one of the tour guides, oh, I didn't realize he still had like nuns here. And they went, there are no nuns. There's nobody.
There's no nuns.
There's nothing there. And there would be no nuns on the tour. She hadn't seen anyone. So that was kind of spooky to my nan. She was
a wee little leprechaun nun.
She was, and it was like, thank whoever it was, because my temperature broke. But it was, I remember Glastonbury when I went, they had the pubs where you go in and the floor's got glass and you look through and you can see the river running underneath.
Yeah.
It's such a spiritual town. It's wonderful.
It is.
Isn't that also a place where they have some large music festival on every year? Is that the midsummer festival? I think it is.
But I think this year, Elton John is going to be at Glastonbury, and that is his last time he's going to be appearing live, apparently.
Oh,
good excuse for you, Prof. Scotty, Dave, to come over.
Perfect.
The only thing I remember, or I've been to England, I've been up to Birmingham and a couple of times into London, and you know the movie it's the recent one, the Kingsman.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the most recent one.
Well, that's the Golden Circle, I think, is the most recent one. The one before that, I think, is where they go to this Glastonbury event, this music event, and the idea is to capture this princess. And so the guys are all being taught how to, the fact there's a competition between four of them to see who's going to win her over. And they end up getting drugged by the guys at the place, and they all just kind of lose out. But it seems like that festival is kind of a Renaissance kind of themed.
Well, it is. I mean, think of Woodstock, Woodstock, and then you think that Glastonbury is like the English version of it, but it's so well known. I mean, I've never been, because the idea of camping and being out in the mud if it rains and the cold does not appeal to me. But so
gotta get your wellies on.
Oh, just no. Glamping I could do, not camping.
Glamping, yes.
But I think it's had so many people, like Kylie Minogue has done it, Paul McCartney, some of the greats have been there, and I think this is why Elton John is going to
There's somebody I've quoted many times just the other day on the radio show, Timothy Freak, who wrote those books, The Laughing Jesus, Jesus and the Mother Goddess, and what was the first one?
They're all freak stories.
Jesus and I can't remember. Good stuff though, but he always puts on at Glastonbury. He has a conference that he puts on there. I don't know if they do it out in tents or what they do, but I think every year he does one there. One of these years I want to get over there just to go to his conference.
It's around July. I'm sure it's around July. I know it's when the summer is on. They need to do it in the summer because otherwise it's going to be freezing cold or raining. So
now where is Glastonbury on the island? Is it in the mid section?
So it's down the bottom towards Somerset. So the whole window.
I would call it, if you're looking at the map, and it's going to look reverse, I think, on here, but you're looking at the map, it's way out on the if you're looking at me, it'd be way out in the west, kind of the west central and down
Out
the
by
bottom where-
Stonehenge.
Yes, not
Yeah,
far.
It's on the way. I mean, Stonehenge, I think, is before.
Well, historically, that place used to be in the Arthurian legends. They talk about Glastonbury Tor as having been also the ancient Isle of Avalon.
Mhm.
And if you go there and you go up on the Tor and you look out around you, you can see it's like you're in a big lake basin there. And all these hills all around, there's these hills that jut up, that they were all islands in this old lake district. You know, you're talking 1,500 years ago.
Although Tintagel, which is on
Tintagel on the coast.
Yeah, Tintagel
down in
is down
Cornwall.
right down by Cornwall, and that's where they believe Camelot was, if there was such a thing as Camelot, because that's where the ruins are. And that I've never been, but it looks absolutely stunning. I mean,
they associated that with the birth of Merlin,
that's right.
or no, the birth of Arthur.
Is it the conceivement of Arthur or somewhere that way?
Yeah, with Igraine and Uther. And
But it's a wonderful story because Merlin is supposed to be Welsh. So I think that there's places in Wales that you can go and you'll find Merlin associated with it. But I think with Glastonbury, it's incredibly expensive. But there is a hotel down there that Mark and I have talked about staying. It's one of the most haunted that they call it.
Well, then it's worth staying because you could work there too.
Wow.
We had when my buddies and I were down there in 2005, and I think that's the same year you and I met, Wendy.
Oh yeah.
I wasn't dating Raini yet, and I was a single guy. I went with my two buddies, and we went and we pub hopped in England for 2 weeks. And
you were doing the P90 thing, so you actually looked pretty svelte.
I was pretty svelte back then. I actually had abs and was in good shape and dark hair. But we're talking 2005.
Yeah. It was
dark or not, you had hair.
I had hair even to get dark. And we, although much like Professor Bauer, I had some natural white flecks in the temples. But
Those are called handlebars.
Handlebar. Yeah, there they are.
Right
next
next
to my ears. I know what I'm doing.
Right next to the ears, which are the real handlebars. But.
That's right. So we didn't go to Tintagel, but we went to Glastonbury, and we went to all the places around there. Bath is near there, and Avesbury, and is it Avebury or Avesbury? I think there's an accent.
Avesbury.
And Stonehenge, of course, and all that.
The difference, isn't it? Anything with hat, it's really weird because we do different things like Birmingham. The A is quite quiet.
The H is silent. The H.
Birmingham and Nottingham. But then
how do you say the letter H?
It depends, because if it's herbs, they say herbs.
We say
how do you say the letter H, Wendy, in the alphabet?
Well, we can say it H.
H, yes.
But or H.
Or H.
But when I lived in
H,
Ham,
if you're being American,
you guys would say Ham. So,
right.
But Birmingham. You say
Birmingham.
That's it, Birmingham. You got it.
So I watch movies.
That's a haunted place in Glastonbury. Is called the hotel, which anyone can stay in, is the George and Pilgrim Hotel.
Nice. Look that one up.
And it looks absolutely. If you get a picture of it, Scotty, you'll see how it actually looks a bit foreboding.
It's what the Georgian Hotel in
the George and Pilgrim Hotel in Glastonbury.
George and Pilgrim.
And you can stay. There's apparently supposed to be a Randy Monk there. One of them.
A Randy
Monk.
A Randy Monk.
Is that Randy as an Australian Randy?
He's a Randy Monk.
That seems kind of.
It's short
wow,
for
that's
Randall.
quite a
it's
cool
short for
looking
Randall.
place.
Doesn't it look good?
just the exterior alone is like, holy
Doesn't it
cow.
look spooky when you look at it? You're kind of like, and it's very dark inside. Like when you go
I'd
in,
stay there.
you have to stay there.
I'm going to bounce back to Professor Bauer's handlebars. So there was a day when I was going to play cards with the Queen as Henry Morgan. And we had tables set up, and I had to lay all my weapons out, and I'm dumping weapons out for several minutes. And then the Queen dumps weapons out for several minutes. It was pretty funny. And I says to Her Majesty, I says, because one of my lads brings up a bottle for me. And I says, Your Majesty, how does you hold your liquor? And she looks, she goes, by the ears, like everyone else.
Well, my as the Duke of Abergavenny, Wales, my character out there, the Duke of Abergavenny, Wales, thrice a bastard, thrice a cousin, thrice removed from the throne. I had my Latin saying, which I can no longer think of what it is, but it was "Let go of my ears, I know what I'm doing." So.
And did you know that women who think that size doesn't matter are shallow?
Are shallow? Yeah, there you go. Bottom ching.
Boom.
Bada boom. So,
We've missed you, Prof.
group.
We
Let's
have
see.
actually.
And then you're back, and he's in the room.
And then he's back. Here it is.
Well,
the saying was "Commodo amito mus aritia ego teno quis ego sum effectus."
Wow,
And
that's long.
it simply means let go of my ears, I know what I'm doing. The Duke of Abergavenny, Wales. Edmund Scroop was my character.
You know what? I did my DNA, and I still haven't found in Welsh,
No dragons in you.
No, it seems to be
None.
It seems to be all Scottish and Norwegian.
Aye, there's nothing wrong with that, lass.
It says Ireland, Germanic Europe, Sweden and Denmark, Norway, Scotland and England, which basically means my
See you, Teresa D'Antone, by the way, over in the chat room. So you don't have any Welsh in you?
Isn't that where you're going to say that very old saying that every man kind of says, would you like a bit of Welsh in you?
I wasn't going to say that.
Because over here, if you meet an Irishman or Scotland, you go, I don't think I have any Irish in me. Would you like some?
Well, see, I never got that
Do that with
dirty
Captain
with me.
Morgan
I never
often.
said, do you want Welsh in you? I'd say, do you want Welsh on you?
Well,
Would
there
you, do you have any Captain Morgan in you? Oh, would you like some?
Oh, would you like some?
Oh my
So-
God.
Anyway, guess what? It's 11:23. We are 23 minutes overtime this morning. And
It's not-
Professor Bauer, I have to say, in typical fashion, he comes in the last 2 minutes.
Better late
So-
than never.
Yeah.
I'm amazed because he virtually hasn't said anything in the entire time he was here.
You
But
know,
it's so good to see you.
yeah, and it's great
I
to
have
see
this
all of you.
theory.
It's
So
great to
it's so-
see. It's great to see you and to be seen, because
That's
these
right.
days, being seen is something that people aren't getting enough of,
Mhm.
and some people are getting too much of. So striking the
Uh-huh.
balance is something that I think we should all be a little bit more cognitive of, and
Yes.
try to be a little less Dick goes in ya, and a little more welcome to the party,
That's
and
in vernacular, Wendy.
keep your pants on.
I think he's referring to a dick inside.
That's right.
Have you guys seen the Australian commercial Dick and
A dick
Cider?
insider.
Yeah.
Dickens
I love
cider. Dickens cider. Yeah.
It's nothing better than a dick insider.
Yes, every woman loves a morning Dick and Cider.
He came, he saw, he conquered.
That's right. That's right.
Well, thanks for letting me in, everybody. I appreciate it.
Well, thanks for coming in, man. Good to see you, Doc. I'm going to let you go
All right.
one by one.
Take
See
care.
you. Bye, Professor. And Wendy.
Wendy, darling.
Wait, I'm going to let Dave go first because we're going to do a little
Darling, so good seeing
promo.
you.
Love
So
to
good
see
seeing
you,
you.
Tuesday.
Dave.
Uncle Dave, good to see
Hope you had a happy birthday.
Thank you.
Ta-ta, cheers, ciao, cheerio, boom. He's gone. And Wendy, we have Tuesday.
Hey.
Everybody, stay tuned for Tuesday, where Robertson. She is the Robertson part. I'm the Roberts part. And so Robertson. And 4 p.m.
We're going to set up a channel, aren't we, on YouTube for Robertson?
Yeah, maybe we'll have our own channel on YouTube by then.
Yep.
It's so easy to do. I just haven't done it yet. So, I'm so busy. What was that?
I have to whip you, boy. Whip you.
Oh, rip the shirt. How cliche. Anyway, that's what we'll be doing Tuesday at 4 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Eastern, and 10 p.m. Sutton Surrey time.
Because everybody loves a bit of R&R.
Everybody loves R&R.
Absolutely.
So Wendy, you have a good rest of your day. I see it has gone from blue sky to dark sky outside. So,
lovely
and
to
it
see
is
you,
just
darling.
11.
Have a wonderful day.
And you too. Good to see you. Love you very much. See you later. All right, folks, that's it. We're done. We got nothing left going on this morning. We've run a little overtime. We're almost a half an hour overtime. But I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you had a good time. We will see you tomorrow night for Intrepid Radio right here. In the meantime, guess what? You know what? Live long and prosper. I forgot to do the hand signal. Look at that. That's how old I am. I actually forgot to put my hand up. So let's go out with a little bang, and we'll see you later. Patch waves goodbye from over there in the peanut gallery. Good night, folks.